salute loud and proud. Mountaineer nation, say it loud. The voice of Morgantown. VOM, Mountaineer pride, we go all in. First to the facts, last to the spin. It's the voice of Morgantown. Let's begin.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of The Rush Show, part of the Voice of Morgantown Network. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is no secret. We discussed this heavily on our show yesterday and how it related to the quarterback position, that West Virginia is currently struggling and, well, beyond struggling a little bit. It's kind of drowning a little bit, and it doesn't seem like brighter days are ahead. Well, at least in terms of this season. I will say I listened to a good bit of Rich Rod live at Kegler's last night, and you could already tell from his tone and the way that he speaks is he's kind of already preparing us for what this season is most likely going to be, but is giving us promises and assurances that this is part of the greater plan, that, hey, it's going to be a tough first year. Got to figure out what we're dealing with, what we have, and, you know, for years to come, we'll figure out how to spend money right. We'll retain the talent that we need to do, and that not only will we be competing for Big 12 championships, but we'll be competing in the college football playoff. So hopefully he can hold his end and his word on that. I know that West Virginia is chomping at the bit to return to its former glory. And of course, in a day and age, I cannot reiterate this enough, of where this Super League is eventually going to come knocking, and at least the top half of college football is not even going to be in the NCAA anymore. It'll be its own league, the college football playoff, whatever they decide to call it. Of West Virginia, of course, wants to be in that league, but it's going to be tough. Currently where it stands, I mean, just by the teams that we've lost to this year, right now, today, we're closer to a MAC team than we are an SEC or a Big Ten team. Now, of course, that can change, and that is the beautiful thing of the transfer portal and NIL era, is these things can be turned around. Of course, West Virginia, we've talked about this before, is a school where you're going against other schools and they have way more resources. So you do have to get creative with your resources a little bit. You have to have the right guys in place, and there's some games you have to play. You're not going to go out there and buy an $8 million quarterback. You got to get the best quarterback you can for $1 million. And you have to be accepting of the fact that you may get a guy in his sophomore, maybe junior year, that's going to have a great year at West Virginia and be ready to move on, right? The athletic department, the college football staff has to be in the mindset of every year, we're going to be getting 70 new players. I know right now we hear, oh, West Virginia has 70 new players. It is something we're going to have to get used to. The good way that this is done is the team does so well that we have SEC and Big Ten teams coming to West Virginia and buying our guys. And so then we have to go out there and get a new crop of folks. At least it's a good problem, right? The Bob Huggins model of, hey, we got a perfect coach that needs West Virginia. We need him. It's tough to do that nowadays. I mean, Rich Rod could be that guy. I mean, but we'll see. To the greater point of all of this, right? I know it's a tough season for you folks, and we wanted this to get off to a roaring start right away, right? This time a month ago, we were a lot more optimistic than we are today. I will say the good thing is we did beat Pitt, right? That's very important. We want to beat them no matter what, and we don't play them for, 3-4 more years. So, hey, we'll have bragging rights for the time being. I know we want to be successful right away, but there can be some things in taking a step back this year that does pay the long-term dividends, right? I'll be honest. I was a proponent of Neil Brown getting fired. If Neil Brown was currently the coach today at West Virginia, I think the roster would be better, and I think he would be doing better than Rich Rod where it stands right now. However, we knew what we were getting with Neil Brown. You're either going to have somewhere between a 5-win and 8-win season if the schedule works out for you. And as West Virginia fans, right, we feel like we deserve more than that, that we need to return to our glory days of where we have the potential to go to a college football playoff, and we have the opportunity to win the Big 12 every year. And with Neil Brown, you're just not going to get that. Maybe you finish in the top 3, but the top 2, I don't know. So with the situation, right, bringing a Rich Rod in, you're increasing the floor and the ceiling to all of this, right? It's a high risk, high reward game you're playing, but you have to. You can't stand still. You got to at least make an effort to stay relevant and get where we need to go. I talked about it already at the beginning of this episode. Time's ticking. You got to get somewhere. You got to stay relevant. You got to spend money. You got to get advertisers behind you. Like it or not, there's a whole business behind college football now that we've never ever seen before. So I don't like talking about Neil Brown anymore, but I do think it's important to say how we got here. And the thing is, even with Rich Rod's past, whether he'd been the coach at West Virginia in the past or not, and how he went out, whether fans like it or not, he probably was the type of guy that was going to get this job anyway. He was the coach of the candidates that were available and West Virginia could afford last year. He was the option. His history at West Virginia is only a plus. Well, for some fans, it's only a plus, depending on who you ask, of course. Right? Is the Odom, the coach at UNLV last year. He went to, Purdue for $7 million. West Virginia is not going to compete with that. So things can be right and still be wrong, or be wrong in the moment, right? Firing Neil Brown was the right thing to do. Hiring Rich Rod was the right thing to do. And it has not panned out yet. So, of course, time will tell whether this, I don't even want to say it was the wrong decision, because I feel at the time it was the right decision. But hopefully Rich Rod plays out the way it should, in the way that we really need it to play out, especially in these next 5 years as college football unfolds. Taking a step back to this season, and I'll give, a floor to ceiling on the rest of the season, how it goes. Of course, we're at BYU Friday night. Then we have a bye after that at UCF, TCU at home, at Houston, Colorado at home, at Arizona State. Then we have a bye, then Texas Tech. At BYU, as of right now, I don't feel as though we'll win this game. However, I do think we can make a statement and make this game closer. And I'll say, I know people don't like this, a moral victory in a sense. And then there's a bye week, right? If we can somehow build momentum in this BYU game, take it into the bye week, build off of that, then we come out at UCF. I think we win that game. TCU at home. TCU probably wins that game. They're a pretty decent team. At Houston, winnable game. Colorado at home. I think that's a winnable game. I think Colorado's a very okay team. We'll see how they do in the latter half of the season and how things are going there. At Arizona State, probably not a winnable game. Bye week, of course, Texas Tech at home. Probably not a winnable game. I will say the later teams you face in the season, there's always that risk of injury, right? We know teams that we see, we're going to play them last game of the season. What a good game that'll be. And then both teams are on their third string quarterback. So assuming Arizona State and Texas Tech are where they're going to be at this point in time, we're not going to win those games there. So I'll say best realistic case scenario is we beat UCF, we beat Houston, we beat Colorado. I'll say best realistic season is 5-7. I'll say worst is 1, maybe 2 more wins. We're probably going to end somewhere between 4-8 and 5-7, maybe 3-9. But I'd like to think, I guess it depends on our roster, we're able to sneak a couple more wins out of it. So got to hold strong, Mountaineer faithful. This is a long-term rebuild, I will say. And we just got to have faith that the right guys are in place. Ren Baker hasn't led us astray yet. And so we got to keep the faith, support our team, because that's very important in this day and age is having fan support, of course. So talk to you all again here soon. Let's go Mountaineers.